All right, Math 1, slope-intercept form from an equation. So in this lesson, all that we're going to be doing is rearranging the equation to where we have it in slope-intercept form. So we need to remember, what is slope-intercept form? It's y equals mx plus b, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. We don't really care that the slope is there and the y-intercept is there. We just care about this thing here for this lesson. So we're going to need to have y by itself, and then we're going to need to have your x with a coefficient and then a constant. Now, in some of these problems, it's going to be a little bit easier to make it mx plus b equals y, right? And we can always transfer that y over to the left right at the end if we need to. So sometimes we're going to try to do y equals, and sometimes we're going to do mx plus b equals y, all right? So let's start off with number 1. So let's read the directions for just a second. First, write the equation in slope-intercept form, then find the slope. So really what we're going to have as our answer is the slope-intercept form and the slope, all right? So number 1, we want to get y equals. So we have our y on the right side. Let's try to get mx plus b equals y. Let's try to make it look like that. So I'll subtract x from both sides. Those guys cancel, and I have negative x plus 6 equals 2y. Notice that I put my x in the front, right? Whenever we have slope-intercept form, our x needs to go in the front. And now we're going to divide by 2, divide everything by 2, because that's what's in front of our y. The 2's with our y's cancel. We can remember that we have really a negative 1 there in front of our x. So it's going to be negative 1/2 x plus 3 equals y. And just to rewrite that, it will be y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. And our slope equals negative 1/2. So our actual answer is going to be that. All right. Number 2. Again, we want to get y equals. Let's start off by subtracting 2 from both sides. Oops. So the 2's there cancel, and I'm going to have 4x minus 2 equals negative y. Then I can divide everything by negative 1. Right? I'm dividing by negative 1 because I have a negative 1 in front of my y. And I get a y on the right, and on the left I'm going to have negative 4x plus 2. Now just to rewrite that, I have well, that's not a 4, that's a y. Y equals negative 4x plus 2, and our slope is negative 4. There we are, that's number 2. All right, number 3. Now this one's kind of a trick question, because it's actually already in slope-intercept form, but I want to show you why it's in slope-intercept form. So it doesn't have an x, but we could add in there a 0x, because that's like adding 0. Y equals 0x minus 1, right? My minus 1 is from right there, and then I put in a 0x to make it look like slope-intercept form, right? So we can kind of see that really y equals negative 1, that is slope-intercept form. And we saw that our slope, well, that's what's right in front of our x, and what's right in front of our x is 0. So this is actually going to be our answer there. Now it's kind of tricky, kind of different. We can also see that y equals negative 1 is going to be a horizontal line, right? All right, number 4. How can we get this to be y equals? Let's subtract our 10x, minus 10x, minus 10x. They cancel on the left, and I'm going to be left with y equals, and I'm going to put my x's first, negative 10x plus 5. And that's slope-intercept form. Now we just need to say, well, the slope is -10. And that's our answer. All right, backside. All right, these still do the same thing, but they're going to be a little bit longer problems, or this one's going to be a little bit longer. So starting off trying to get y by itself. Well, since everything is on the right side, and I want y by itself, I'm going to subtract y from both sides. And I don't know if I've said this already, but there's all kinds of ways you can do these problems. You don't have to follow exactly what I do, but you do need to rearrange the problem, just like how whenever we solved 2-step or 3-step equations, you could do them in all kinds of different orders. Same way here. So we've got -6y equals -3x minus 12. Now I divide by -6. The -6 is canceled in front of the y, and I'm left with y equals, well, -3 over -6 is +1/2. And then -12 over -6 is +2. So there's my slope-intercept form, and my slope is 1/2. There we are. That's number 5. All right, number 6. The fastest way to get y by itself, I'm going to add over my 4x. So those guys cancel. And I've got -y equals 4x plus 1. Now I have a -y, so I'm going to divide by -1. And I'm left with y equals -4x minus 1. And my slope here is going to be -4. All right, number 7. This one's kind of different too. It's really kind of difficult to put this one into slope-intercept form, but we can put it into an x equals form, and that's what we're going to do here. We see that there's no y here, so it doesn't really make sense to have slope-intercept form. So let's get x equals, and I'm going to add 2x to the other side. So I'm going to have 2x equals -6. I added it to both sides, those guys canceled. And now I'll divide by 2 on both sides, and I get x equals -3. Now, what would the slope of this line be? Well, this is a vertical line, so it's undefined. Right? That's a vertical line. If you were to graph it, it would look like something like that, where this would be your x, this would be your y. All right, number 8, last one. Well, my y is already by itself. All I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by -1 on everything, because there's a negative one in front of my y. So I'm going to get 8, oh, here, I'll write this in the blue. 8x plus 3 equals y. Well, that's the same thing as y equals 8x plus 3, and my slope is 8. All right, that's that.